I call to order the Riverview Community School District Board of Education regular meeting for July 22nd, 2025. I want to thank Vice President Dominski for filling in for roll call votes since Secretary Walker is not here tonight. Vice President Dominski, roll call, please.
President Bohr.
Here.
Vice President Dominski, here. Treasurer Davis.
Yeah, here.
Trustee O'Brien.
Here.
Trustee Toth.
Here.
Trustee Meeks and Secretary Walker are excused.
We'll rise for Pledge of Allegiance. Next, we'll go to guests and visitor comments for the 2-minute session. Are there any guests and visitor here to share their comments for the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to item A37, acceptance of agenda. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr.
Vice President Dominski.
Be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education accepts the agenda for the July 22nd, 2025 regular meeting.
Motion by Vice President Dominski. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee O'Brien. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vice President Dominski, roll call, please.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski, yes. Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A38, consent grouping. I'll make the motion. Be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education accept the minutes of the June 23rd, 2025 study session, the minutes of the June 23rd, 2025 public hearing, the minutes of the June 24th, 2025 regular meeting, approves the check registers and purchase card expense reports, and approves the REA contract as all contained in consent grouping. Do I have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Toth. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vice President Dominski, roll call, please.
Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski, yes. Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to board updates, administrative comments, legislative reports. Superintendent Hatzel.
Thank you, President Bohr. Legislatively, our legislators still not resolved the state budget or the school aid budget, so we continue to urge them to make progress so that we can have a better view of our financials for the fall. Locally, a few summer learning opportunities still ahead, as we've got about a month left of summer before we head back to school. On August 19th at 10 a.m. at the Reflection Pond, we have our last summer reading event called Hooked on Books at the Reflection Pond. So we encourage you to attend that, and as we always try to emphasize, if you're not able to attend, though, please encourage your students to read a book or two here before they head back to school. So that's all I have for updates around the district, and like I said, we're already gearing up for the fall.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Next, we'll move on to item A39, accept the first reading of Board of Education amendments and updates. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
Miller Johnson completed an audit of our Board of Education bylaws and policies and our administrative guidelines and have made their recommendations for amendments, additions, and updates. The administrative guidelines and board bylaws have been updated and attached. It is a recommendation of the superintendent that the Miller Johnson audit of the Board of Education bylaws and policies, including amendments, additions, and update, be accepted by the full board, such acceptance to be deemed to constitute a first reading. Further modification and update to be placed on the agenda of the next regular scheduled board meeting for a second and third reading and final adoption.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr.
Vice President Dominski.
Be it resolved that the Riverview Board of Education accepts for the purposes of the first reading the amendment, additions, and updates completed by Miller Johnson after their audit of our Board of Education bylaws and policies and our administrative guidelines as presented.
Motion by Vice President Dominski. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Treasurer Davis. Any discussion? Hearing none, Vice President Dominski, roll call, please.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski. Yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A40, approve ballot language for operating millage proposal.
The State School Aid Act guarantees each local school district a base foundation allowance per membership pupil. In order to receive the full guaranteed foundation allowance per membership pupil, the school district is required to levy millage locally on all property except principal residence and other property exempted by law. It is a recommendation of the superintendent and the director of business and finance that the Board of Education approve the attached resolution approving the operating millage proposal to be voted on at a special election to be held on November 4, 2025.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. What I'll say is, I'll try to give a simple explanation. Proposal A requires us to levy 18 mills on our non-homestead property tax base. And if we don't levy 18 mills, we don't get our full foundation allowance back. Now, however, the Headley Amendment also says if our non-homestead property tax base exceeds the rate of inflation, 3.1% last year, we will have to roll back our 18 mills to a lower amount. So what this proposal does is put to the voters the opportunity to elect to allow us to restore that lost millage due to the Headley rollback, and it will allow us to get our full foundation allowance and avoid the potential loss of $349,000. So I'm just going to read the verbiage of the full resolution, and then I'll make the regular motion. Whereas this board intends to submit a proposition at a special election to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, on or before 4 p.m. on Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, the board shall certify any ballot proposition to be submitted to the voters at such election to the election coordinator or coordinators designated to conduct elections within the district. Therefore, it's resolved that a special election of the school electors of the district be called and held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. The proposition to be voted on at the special election shall be stated on the ballot in substantially the form set forth in Exhibit A. The election coordinator is requested to utilize the Riverview Register, a newspaper published with general circulation within the district for publication of notices in accordance with the election law requirements, to utilize ballot proposition summary information as prepared by legal counsel in the forms of the notices of last day of registration and election in substantially the form as set in Exhibit B attached. Provide a proof copy of the ballot to the district and its legal counsel in sufficient time to allow the ballot to be proofread prior to printing. The Secretary of the Board is hereby authorized and directed to file a copy of this resolution with the election coordinator and with any election clerk or clerks designated to conduct elections within the district by 4 p.m. Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. All resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution are hereby rescinded. So I'll make the motion. Be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education approves the attached resolution approving the operating millage proposal to be voted on at a special election to be held on November 4th, 2025. Do I have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Toth. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Vice President Dominski, roll call, please.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski. Yes.
Next, we'll go to item A41, MASB Leadership Conference Delegation Designation. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
Every year, the Michigan Association of School Boards has their leadership conference. Delegates from throughout Michigan attend the conference to represent their respective school boards. This year, the MASB Leadership Conference will be in Traverse City with a virtual attendance option. It is the recommendation of the superintendent and members of the Board of Education that this board approves the designation of President Tim Bohr as the delegate to represent Riverview Board of Education at the annual Leadership Conference. Vice President Matt Dubinsky is named as an alternate if President Bohr is unable to represent the district.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. I will make the motion here, too. Be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education approves designation of President Tim Bohr as delegate to represent the district at the MASB Leadership Conference. If President Tim Bohr is not able to represent the district, Vice President Matt Dubinsky is named as the alternate. Do I have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee O'Brien. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vice President Dubinsky, roll call, please.
President Bohr?
Yes.
Vice President Dubinsky? Yes. Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A42, award school bus purchase. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
In keeping with the bus replacement schedule, bids were solicited for the purchase of a new propane school bus through the Michigan School Business Officials Bus Purchasing Program. The new bus would be replacing a diesel school bus. The district was selected to receive a Michigan Clean School Bus grant in the amount of $57,294 to help offset the purchase of the new propane bus. We have already received the rebate funds. 3 vendors have submitted quotes. The bid tally sheet is attached. The selected vendor is Holland Bus Company of Michigan. After reviewing the quotes and specifications with the transportation supervisor and bus mechanic, it is the recommendation of the Director of Grounds and Operations and the Director of Business and Finance that Holland Bus Company of Michigan be selected as the vendor for the purchase of one 2025 Bluebird 77-passenger bus in the amount of $150,617, which shall be charged to the 25-26 school year budget. The net cost to the district will then be $93,323.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do we have a motion?
President Bohr,
Trustee O'Brien.
be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education approve Holland Bus Company of Michigan as the vendor for the purchase of one 2025 Bluebird 77-passenger bus for an amount not to exceed $150,617.
Motion by Vice President, motion by Trustee O'Brien. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Treasurer Davis. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vice President Dubinsky, roll call, please.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
President Bohr?
Yes.
Vice President Dubinsky? Yes. Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A43, approve the seats gym floor repairs. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
After removing the Seats Middle School gymnasium wood floor, it was discovered that the concrete floor is in need of some leveling, crack, and hole repairs. The verbal quotes are obtained to perform the necessary repairs. The quotes are below. Sport floor finishing, $25,600. SCI flooring, $29,500. Atlantic sport floors, $33,605. Is a recommendation of the Director of Grounds and Operations and the Superintendent that we award the project to sport floor refinishing in an amount not to exceed $25,600.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do we have a motion?
President Bohr,
Trustee Toth.
be resolved, the Riverview Board of Education award the seats gym floor concrete leveling and repair to Sport Floor Refinishing in an amount not to exceed $25,600.
Motion by Trustee Toth. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee O'Brien. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vice President Dubinsky, roll call, please.
Vice President Dubinsky? Yes. Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
President Bohr?
Yes.
Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to guest and visitor comments, the 5-minute session. Any guests and visitors here with comments for the board? Next, we'll move on to items for discussion presented by board members concerning which no action can be taken. Okay. Next, we'll move on to future business. The August study session will be Monday, August 25th at 6:30 PM at RCHS, and our regular meeting for August will be here in the Riverview City Hall Council Chambers Tuesday, August 26, 2025, at 7 p.m. Next, we'll need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Dominski. And is there support?
Support.
Supported by Treasurer Davis. Any discussion? Hearing none. Vice President Dominski, roll call, please.
President Boer,
Yes.
Vice President Dominski, yes. Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned at 7:15.